All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Heroes Connect Military to Manufacturing event. My name is Rachel Wolford, and I'm a director with the Manufacturing Institute. I oversee the Heroes Make America SkillBridge training programs that we offer and support events such as this. Whether you are a seasoned Heroes Connect attendee or new to the show, we are happy to have you spending the next hour with us. We started these events to help open our military population's eyes to the manufacturing and supply chain industry. Oftentimes, our companies go unnoticed simply because folks may not understand how dynamic manufacturing is and how well our service members, veterans, and military spouses' talents are aligned with positions in these companies. We just don't know what we don't know, and we are hoping to change a little bit of that each time we do these events. So, all right, let's get to who we are here talking with today. They may not be a name that you immediately recognize, but they represent more than 2,500 member companies in an incredibly strategic, innovative, and growing sector. So let me flip to the next slide here. So who is that, you're wondering? As you can see here today, we are featuring one of our Heroes Make America Association partners, SEMI. Let's do some quick housekeeping items before I introduce our first speaker. First, this event is being recorded. You saw that pop up probably just a few moments ago and will be sent out as part of an event recap email. Please be sure that you stay muted throughout the presentation to minimize background noise so that we can have a clean recording. Lastly, although our mics are muted, I still encourage you to be an active participant. Utilize the chat feature during the presentation to drop in questions that you have. We will hold answering questions until the end of the presentation during the Q&A portion, where I will read off your questions. Overall, events like this are your opportunity to join the discussion and ask questions of these industry leaders who you may not normally have access to. So let's go ahead and practice and utilize the chat feature. Open up the chat and drop in the location where you are seeking employment. While you're doing that, I also want to briefly highlight the Manufacturing Institute's Heroes Make America Military SkillBridge program. We have many of our current students on this call, but we also have other military-affiliated participants, company representatives, and community partners from across the country joining us today. For those of you who may not be familiar with Heroes Make America, we are a DoD-approved SkillBridge program that's open to transitioning service members, veterans, reservists, National Guardsmen, and military spouses that provides a variety of certification trainings, equipping you for rewarding careers in the manufacturing and supply chain industries. Our students learn a variety of topics to include safety, quality practices, various technical trainings like electrical, mechanical, and pneumatic training. And then we also have logistics and warehouse distribution training. You can see here our program managers and the trainings that we offer, as well as upcoming class dates. We will drop our contact information into the chat so that you'll be able to connect with any one of us if you do have any questions. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to today's first speaker, Linda Gomez from SEMI.
Thank you, Rachel. So great to be with you all today to share a little bit about SEMI, a little bit about the semiconductor / microelectronics / chips industry, and where we see all of your incredible skills, training, experience, and how we would love to leverage that in our industry. So we can go to the next slide here. So when you imagine semiconductor industry, we're talking about all the devices, all the manufacturing advancements, all the medical device advancements, automated cars, all the different things that are happening in our tech world these days and what is required to go into that. So the machines, the chips themselves, the design of it, all of the different facilities, and everything in between to kind of get there. We go to the next slide. Why is this such a big thing and why are we trying to recruit so much right now? Because of all the advancements I mentioned are all kind of coming into play right now and have been growing over the last couple of years. So as you can see on here, over the last 50 years or so, every time there's been a big advancement around PCs, around cell phones, around AI, you see these big spikes in demands in the industry investments. And right now we have four critical components that are coming into play that are really driving up the growth that we're seeing right now. Can you go to the next slide? One more. The little pop-ups. So this diagram here is kind of an interesting visual representation of all those different components that I briefly mentioned there. So this is, if you look at the circles here and you look in the middle, that's us, that's SEMI. We kind of see ourselves as the trade association that kind of pulls all of these companies and components of the supply chain together to be able to streamline communication, develop standards, and in my capacity, looking at workforce solutions to make sure that we have training programs and talent to fill all the needs of these companies. So these four components that you see around the four kind of corners of the screen here are those major advancements and all the companies that are kind of filling into that. So from the middle there, all the design automation of what goes into developing the chips and developing the capacity and what they're utilized for, all the materials and subcomponents. So that's, you know, chemicals that can be the environment that they're created in inside the fabs. All of the equipment, assembly and test services is that next ring. So that's all the machines that are coming into it and what is required of what they're made of, what they're pulling together. And a lot of times it's multiple companies that are kind of collaborating for their different areas of expertise. And then the semiconductors themselves, and then the systems that they're ultimately put in. So whether it's advancements in AI, in smart mobility, in med tech, or in smart manufacturing, all four of these are at really critical points where there's such a high demand for advancements and it's happening so quickly that there's just an incredible talent need. I'm sure many of you, during the pandemic specifically, you would hear a lot about these chip shortages and these needs for, car chips and phones, and you didn't see a whole lot of new devices coming out for that short window of time. And that was because over 90% of this chip manufacturing was happening overseas. And as supply chain disruptions were happening, there was a greater demand and need for all of that to be brought back to the US, and a lot of investment has been taking place. I think if we go to the next slide here, it'll get into some of those investments that we're seeing. Oh, it's the next one, but these are the locations where they're happening. So I'll finish my thought on the investment. So the CHIPS and Science Act was passed back in 2022. That announced a lot of federal investment in bringing all of these companies and incentivizing them to build facilities out here. So if you see things in the news around Intel building new facilities and expanding here in Texas, I know there's quite a few of you around Fort Cavazos. Samsung just expanded their operations and continue to do so. And in Arizona, TSMC is building their first large facility outside of Taiwan. So all of these things, those are the ultimate semiconductor fabs, but then all of the other companies that fill in those other circles, you kind of see represented here because their development and their facilities are expanding quite a bit as well. And three of the companies that we work with are with me today, and we'll talk about, how a lot of this is impacting their companies and why they are participating in events like this to try to attract more talent. So this map has a lot of those big hubs that we're seeing. This is about a year and a half old. So we are working on updating it because there are new announcements all the time. So this is going to shift, but these are, where they stand. Those ones aren't going anywhere. There's just additional circles that we need to include on here. We go to the next slide. And this is the incentives that I mentioned. So the CHIPS Act provides a lot of federal funding. States are also matching funding and incentivizing companies to build facilities. And then there's a lot of private investment that like we've never seen before with a lot of these companies and coalitions coming together to drive this. Next slide. And I'm wrapping up here, but I do want to mention that SEMI has a career portal. So if you take a picture of this little QR code, or we can drop it in the chat as well, we have a military to SEMI job matching tool. So you can go in there, put in your MOS, look at, thank you, Renee, look at, what types of skills you likely have gained from the military, complete the interest and skills assessment, and it will make recommendations on different career paths that you could consider within the semiconductor industry. And it ultimately leads to openings in your area. So definitely take a look at that when you get a chance after our webinar. Next slide, please. I think we're handing it over to.
We are. So our next presenter is going to be Wayne Scott with Advantest. And I know we are going to lead in to their presentation with a video. So I will flip to that slide. We'll get the video going, and then we'll get Wayne on here to talk with all of you. All right, and with that, Wayne, I'm going to flip it over to you. Oh, I think you're muted. Should be a microphone button.
How about now? Am I good?
There, we gotcha.
Okay, thanks. Wow, that was, I haven't seen that video before. I was putting a smile on my face. So I really like that discussion about the CHIPS Act. I was going to mention a little bit about that myself, but you covered it so well, I don't need to say anything. Anyway, my name is Wayne Scott, and I'm a veteran of the U.S. Navy. And I'd like to say thank you for your service for all the other veterans that are listening in. So I was in the Navy. I went to some electronics. This is after I graduated from high school, went to join the Navy, then went to some electronics schools. One of them was up here in San Francisco. Then I got assigned to a guided missile destroyer, and that was home ported initially in San Diego. And started to get familiar with some of the equipment that was located on the ship, and eventually went to some other schools that focused on that equipment, some radar systems and displays, and some air navigation, tactical air navigation, and some electronic counter measure systems, which is kind of a mouthful. So then after the Navy, I tried to save as much money as I could, and then went to, got an engineering degree from San Jose State. And my focus was in semiconductors, and took a job as an integrated circuit designer for a couple of years. Then studied, went on to get advanced studies in semiconductors and then software, and then became an operations manager for a while. And then switched a little bit, became a BIOS engineer, where I was programming in assembly language, kind of a wide gamut of stuff. and then worked on memory test systems. And so currently I'm here at Advantest America, still in the IC realm of business, and I work on some things called IC parametric test. These test systems go inside wafer fab areas, but the company produces, it's probably got a leader overall in test equipment that's used in test sites all around the world. So it's been quite a journey for me. See, what things that I like about working for this company is excellent working culture. There's a lot of training that goes on continuously to help us fit in with the cultural values that we have at this company. Things like diversity and how to protect IP, and just it's ongoing, it's continuous every year, and it's really a great team building. So everybody's is aligned on most of these values. Also, it's lifelong learning opportunities. I've never stopped going to school since my bachelor's degree. It's always been studying something, and the Advantest has helped reimburse a lot of those things. But they've also actually, as part of my evaluation every year, I have to put down some development goals, and then I'm actually graded on meeting those goals, and then how can I apply those in my work. So another plug for Advantest, we're a leader in our field, and another thing about the company, it adapts and innovates. This company doesn't stand still. It's amazing how things like machine learning and AI has become part of our business. So take a look at our company. There's all kinds of people that work here. Even though my background is mostly in ICs, there's mechanical engineers, there's program managers, data scientists, just an amazing collection of folks. So please take a look at our company and take a look at our website, and you can see what's going on there. So I think you can take a look. Oh, here's a great slide. It talks about opportunities that we have. We have a number of sites throughout the states. Texas, we have here California. There's some things going on in Arizona. So we're, as you saw from the slide, we're pretty scattered around the states. So the one I work at is currently in San Jose. Let's see. What else can I say? So I don't know. Should we open this up for questions, or should we wait for after the end of all the presentations? So I'm open if somebody would like to ask me something in particular.
I think we'll probably hold most of our questions
Okay.
till the end, and then we'll have kind of a general QA session. But I do have a few more slides for you, Wayne, if you'd like
Sure.
me to.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just a summary of what our company is all about. It was interesting. My wife, we just got a new car, replaced a car after 15 years, and the amount of technology in this car is amazing. I was trying to back out of a parking place, and my wife got behind the car, and the car stopped. It wouldn't move, and it turns out those very sensors are some of the products that our company tests. So I don't know, you might say that's just amazing. So the company has products that eventually end up just about everywhere, but we're way up the supply chain. So that's why perhaps most consumers haven't heard of the company Advantest, but most consumers everywhere have experienced the result of the test equipment that we produce and supply to various equipment manufacturers and IC companies. But kind of interesting. Let's see. So you can read some of the other products that we produce on here. There's microscopes, photomask manufacturing equipment. It's a huge company. So even though, again, although I've focused on talking about ICs or in particular, this company has an army of people that it takes to produce these systems. It's incredible. It's about every discipline that you can think of. I don't think we have any biosciences. I'm not sure if we have some of those people here, but probably the medical part of the business we do. Anyway, so you can look at some of the core values that are part of Advantest, and this company, it walks the talk when they talk about core values. They're serious about it. Again, they're ongoing classes every year that we attend, and these classes are repeated. They're not just one time only. They talk about developing our working relationships with each other, our working relationships with our customers, our working relationships with the environment. We even discuss our impact on the environment, how we can make a difference, how we can participate in that. Let's see. So, okay, next slide. Oh, so here's just example of one of our locations is down in Chandler, Arizona, and you can take a look at some of those positions that they're actively recruiting. Again, I think you could go to the website and look at the open positions, and hopefully you find something that you're interested in. Please apply for it, send in your application, and let's see. I'll see. There's a QR. Okay, Workforce Development Challenge. So we're fully engaged in the CHIP Act's goals, and that's to increase our presence and capability here in the U.S. for semiconductor manufacturing. We're part of it, and we really I think veterans are a great employee because veterans have experienced teamwork and a common teamwork that's working to achieve a goal. And those are some of the really important characteristics that we would like to have here at Advantest. It seems it's worked well for me, that's for sure, over these years. And so please take a look at us. I think that's it for me.
All right. Thanks so much, Wayne. I know Renee has made sure to drop links in the chat to your careers page so that the folks on the call here can make sure to check in the chat and check out what career opportunities you guys have and where those openings are available. So with that, we will move over to our next presenter. And we have Mike Garlett with Western Digital. So Mike, we'll turn it over to you at this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for having me. My name is Mike Garlett. I'm with Western Digital, located here in San Jose, California, but the company obviously has different locations throughout the US and internationally. Over here at Western Digital, I'm a program manager. Specifically, I cover veteran military outreach as well as workforce development and diversification initiatives. So just a quick introduction for myself. I'm a veteran as well, so I like to thank everybody here for your service. Anybody who is active or has had served, thank you so much. I was in the Air Force for about 10 years. My original first career field was 22357 for Air Force. That's vehicle management analysis. I did that for 6 years out of, at the time, McChord Air Force Base. And then while I was there, it became Joint Base Lewis McChord. And then I volunteered to become a recruiter at the 6-year mark. Some of my leadership thought I was really easy to get along with and thought I'd be a really good face for the Air Force. And my recruiter, I thought my recruiter kind of sucked, so I always thought I could do better. So I applied to become a recruiter, went through the school and everything, and I did that for 4 years out of Roseville, California. I was the primary recruiter for Roseville, Greater Placer County area, and I would report out of Travis Air Force Base. So out of the 10-year mark, or at my 10-year mark, I did decide to separate. At that point in my life, I decided I didn't know if I wanted to continue to move around, and thought I really wanted to just focus on a career, and a separation at the time was the best direction for me. So I decided to separate and pursue my civilian career. My civilian career consists of, I was a technical recruiter out of Lucid Motors here in Northern California. For anybody familiar, their vehicle is kind of similar to Tesla, I want to say. I did that for 3 years, recruiting for primarily IT roles, as well as machine learning and some hardware roles as well. After my time at Lucid Motors, I was presented with the opportunity to come here at Western Digital, which brings me to my position now. So if you can, and some of the pictures, these are just some of the pictures throughout my career. Primarily when I was recruiting, just got a chance to meet some really great people and share what opportunities and how the Air Force could really help for some members out there who might not have a path or want to pursue the military. So, yep, those were those pictures. Um, Going into my military separation and transition, I did want to cover a couple of different things as far as my path and some things I wish I had considered or potentially have looked at. So, um, right out of separating from the military, unfortunately, I did not finish my degree, which I should have during my time in service. So I knew as soon as I separated, I needed a relevant direction. I needed a path. I didn't want to not know where I was going or what I was going to pursue. And fortunately for me, I really enjoyed recruiting. So I decided to continue on that path and pursue a degree that was relevant. So I did utilize a portion of my post 9/11 GI Bill to go to school here in Northern California, where I obtained a bachelor's degree in technical business management. And that straight out of school, I obtained my role at Lucent Motors as a technical recruiter. A big portion of obtaining my first role out of the military was just utilizing LinkedIn. I think everybody's going to post and let you know that that's the best resource in regards to connecting and networking with people as well as looking for roles. Um, but a big focus within LinkedIn as well in my career or my resume was translation to making sure that it's civilian friendly. Throughout your time in the military, you're going to learn that you're going to have a lot of weird habits, a lot of acronyms that people aren't going to understand. So making sure I had translation and helping others or civilians understand what I actually did and how it's more digestible for them really helped in understanding my experience. I also utilized a lot of my network, a lot of friends and family here in California who found out that I had separated. So a lot of them were really helpful in regards to just providing tips, advice, potential pathways that I could take in regards to finding a new role. So that was how I got my role at Lucent Motors. Here at Western Digital, it became a really similar path, right? Updating LinkedIn, resume, but this time it was a little different. I think with a little experience as a civilian under my belt, I was a lot more confident and I was just myself. And I think my interview with Western Digital went really well because they saw that and they really valued or they really value military experience and my background and have a pretty diverse, welcoming culture over here. So it's been really cool. So resources to consider that I would have utilized if I knew a little bit more about them when I was in the military during, TAPS, maybe SkillBridge, if there is any local opportunities, definitely something great. If there are any companies that are offering the program relevant with the direction that you're going. Internships, if you're finishing, higher education, internships are a really great way to get into a company. A lot of times that will kind of lead to conversions and a permanent role within a company, as well as certifications and training programs that might be relevant. So there are a lot of different programs out there, a lot of classes, certifications that you could take that is just more skills and things to add to your resume that could really help in your career. And then just lastly, a picture of just my new manager here. Name is Melissa Bedell, but she's been really excellent and awesome. And just wanted to highlight her as this was taken, I want to say maybe a month or I want to say 2 or 3 months ago. All right, and next slide, please. All right, so the reason why I'm here, so here at Western Digital, we design and manufacture data and tech products. We're primarily known for our hard disk drives and solid state drives, but we also have products within flash memory and cloud services. So we do encourage anybody who is interested in any of our roles here at Western Digital, if you feel that you are qualified, feel free to apply. We have a different bunch of subsets of companies, including SanDisk, again, which are all across the US as well as internationally. So that QR code will lead you directly to our career site. And then if you can move forward to the next slide, please. A big role that I did want to highlight, though, is this opportunity here, which is our apprentice program. So this program, it focuses on attracting great talent in Western Digital Advanced Manufacturing Program here at our Fremont and San Jose locations, which is where our fabs are. So in collaboration with the Department of Labor and our local workforce boards and local community college here, we are now one of the first companies in California to offer an apprentice program within semiconductor industry. So this is a full-time opportunity where we're able to bring on members and enroll them in a 12-month program. Once they're onboarded, the program is comprised of related college course instruction and on-the-job training that's competency-based. So we're hoping that this will allow members to develop and grow and move up within our organization. Although this role isn't specifically or exclusively for military and veterans, we believe it's a great opportunity for those who would like to begin or continue a career focused on semiconductor and cutting edge technology. So if you scan the QR code, that will take you directly to the job description on our website where you can learn more about the role. We recently just hired our first cohort of 8 for this apprenticeship role, but we're hoping to have more roles come available in the near future. So definitely, stay on top of our website, or hopefully we'll be able to share contact information at the end of this presentation, and hopefully I can keep in touch and provide updates as they come. And that is all for my portion of the slides, and thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mike. We really appreciate you being here with us today. And with that, we're going to head over to our last presenter for our event today. So I am going to turn it over to Mr. Jason Spears with Tokyo Electron.
Hi, how's everybody doing today? All right, thank you for joining us. Thank you for serving your country. So my name is Jason Spears. I'm the military program manager for Tokyo Electron. I did 20 years Air Force, retired last January, and I've been working for Tokyo Electron in this role for a year and a half now, okay? So my first 13 years in the Air Force was aircraft armament systems, or weapons for short. And then my last 7 years was in Air Force recruiting. But unlike Mike, I was told to be a recruiter, right? I didn't volunteer for it, but it turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me, okay? I originally grew up in LA, California, right? I've been married for 21 years, and probably the only thing that you'll remember about me is that I have 6 kids, okay? And then I know what you're thinking, right? How's this 20-year-old have 6 kids, right? No, okay, I'm over 40, okay? And once you have 5 kids or more, you just stop aging, okay? So if you're on the fence of having a big family, well, there you go, all right? Next slide, please. So what does Tokyo Electron do? Okay, so TEL develops, manufactures, sells, and supports the equipment that makes the world's semiconductors, okay? We're probably one of the biggest companies you never heard of, okay? But we are bigger than Nintendo, we're bigger than Sony. We're a multi-billion-dollar company that flourishes in the background, okay? Next slide, please. All right, so Tokyo Electron was founded in 1963 as a technology trading company. In the 1990s, 1980s, they went all out on semiconductor manufacturing equipment, okay, to today, right? One of the biggest semiconductor manufacturing companies in the world. Next. So as Melinda pointed out, semiconductors are integral in every piece of modern technology we have today, right? So in simplest terms, what do? They conduct, and through how they come together, regulate the flow of electrical signals. All right, these signals allow transistors on the chip to turn on and off. Okay, so your phone, your computer, your microwave, your car, your PS5, right? We were talking about supply chain issues. Like the reason why I couldn't buy a PS5 a few years ago was because of chips, right? And now that I have one, I don't even play it, right? It was the need, the fear of missing out that made me buy a PS5. Okay. Next slide, please. So there's a lot that goes into producing these chips. Okay. So since I work human resources, right? I can't explain to you, I'm not going to pretend I know exactly how this works, right? But there's a lot of steps in the manufacturing process. All right. So, but I can tell you that TEL is the only company that is involved in nearly every critical step. Okay. Here's an example of our tools and basically what it goes through to get to the final product. Okay. Very complex. All right. Next slide, please. So as Melinda also pointed out, that our industry is exponentially growing. Okay. Tokyo Electron is a multi-billion dollar company currently in a multi-billion dollar industry that is going to be in the trillions by 2030. Okay. Next slide, please. We are a global company. Okay. We do business at 77 sites in 18 countries, US, Japan, obviously, Europe, Korea, China, and Taiwan. Next slide. Here's a map of our US sites. Okay. I do want to point out that Austin, Texas is our US headquarters. Okay. Our site in Albany is considered the global hub for all TEL innovation worldwide, one of the most cutting edge semiconductor facilities in the nation. Our manufacturing site is in Chaska, Minnesota. And the other sites are customer focused. Okay. For example, I'm in Phoenix right now, and we have two offices, one in North Phoenix that supports TSMC, and one in Chandler that supports Intel. Okay. So we have over 12,000 employees worldwide, and over almost 3,000 of those in the United States. Okay. Next slide, please. So the CHIPS Act. Why are chips, semiconductors coming to the United States, right? Because we want to focus manufacturing in the United States, right? So what does that mean to us, veterans, right? What does that mean to you? Next. That means America still needs you, right? Joining the semiconductor industry, working for TEL, right? You are technically still serving your country, right? Helping our country advance in technology. Since semiconductors are the building blocks that we use to create modern technology, without semiconductors, there is no technology, okay? There's no radios, no missile systems, no jets. Without semiconductors, today's military wouldn't even exist, right? And what I like to say is without chips, there is no defense, okay? So, oh, sorry. One of my hiring managers always tells me that he looks for 4 key attributes, okay, for someone he wants to hire, okay? Accountability, dependability, flexibility, and adaptability, okay? That's what you've been trained as a military member since basic training, right? My hiring manager can train the rest on how to work on the machines. Yes, granted, if you were in a tech or mechanical career field, it would be easier for you to learn. However, it is not necessary. Okay. So why work at TEL, right? Melinda knows that I hate bragging. Okay. But I can't ignore the awards that we have on this slide. Okay. So I believe, based on my research, we're the only military friendly employer who has been awarded the Gold Award for 2024 in the semiconductor manufacturing industry. Okay. We are also a U.S. Department of Defense Higher Vets Platinum Award winner. Excuse me. Okay. Only semiconductor manufacturing equipment company that has these 2 awards. as of right now. Okay. So we have excellent benefits, right, for our regular full-time employees, 401k with company match, tuition reimbursement, bonuses that are paid twice a year, to name a few. Okay. My favorite, we have mentors that help you reach the level you want to reach. I'm always being told that we're looking for career-minded individuals. Okay. I'm a career-minded individual. Next slide. And the reason why I bring that up, the reason why I bring up my kids is because of this right here, job stability. Okay. It is the most important thing to me, most important thing to my family. I didn't do 20 years in the Air Force just to get out and jump from job to job every year, worrying if I can take care of my wife and 6 kids, right? I wanted to work for a company that I can grow and make a career. I want to be able to work towards that second retirement, right? So I can stop working. Okay. One of my hiring managers told me it took him 20, not 20, excuse me, 12 jobs to find Tokyo Electron. All right. And now that he's found it, he's been working here for about 15 years and he's making a career, right? He found his home. Next slide. So our bread and butter as far as employment is startup and field service engineering. Okay. It is the career field that most veterans qualify for and can start out in. All right. Now, if you're looking for a good hands-on career that my hiring manager can train you on, as long as you have those 4 traits that he's always looking for, you can start there and branch out to multiple career paths. Okay. Our chairman of the company, Army West Point grad, served for about 10 years, got out, stayed with the company 30 years, chairman, right? Our general manager, 4 years Navy, worked on subs, started as field service engineer, general manager after 30 years, okay? Basically second in command. I'm not saying everybody can do it, but it is what is possible, okay? Next slide. So we have several employee resource groups, okay? Women's Network, Veterans Alliance, Pride Alliance, Black Employee Network. We pride ourselves on diversity, okay? Because we know that a diverse team makes a strong and resilient team, just like in the military, okay? Different backgrounds, different cultures, different ways of thinking makes a team stronger, okay? Makes a company stronger. Next slide. And that's it. If you were just wondering what my face looks like in black and white, there it is above my contact information. That QR code takes us to our talent network. And I just want to leave you with one final thought. Okay. So you know how AI is supposed to revolutionize human life, right? I literally asked ChatGPT if AI could exist without semiconductors, and ChatGPT said no. All AI as we know it today cannot exist without semiconductors. Okay. So if you're wondering how you can make an impact on the future, Tokyo Electron and the semiconductor industry, in my opinion, is one of the best places to start. Okay. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. So at this time, we're going to head right into our Q&A session. So we'll lead off first by if we've got anybody in the chat or who wants to raise their hand, we'd be happy to give you the opportunity to unmute yourself and ask any questions you have. And it looks like one has already rolled into the chat here for me. So for all the companies, what type of training does your company provide to new employees to prepare them for roles within your organization? And if they are not successful in one area, do you all work to potentially place them in an area where they show more aptitude? And I'll turn it over to the speakers. Feel free, any one of you, to answer away.
This is Wayne. Some of the things we have done here at Advantest, we have bring in interns and actually move them around within different work groups so they get exposure to different things that we do. And then they learn what we do, and they express an interest in doing something and not doing something. We learn from those people, and our goal is to bring those people in as permanent employees. Right now, just in my work group, I think we have like 3 people that are working here on a part-time basis, and they're also going to school in between their part-time work with us.
Perfect. Would any of our other presenters like to add in anything there?
Yes. So what Tokyo Electron likes to do, right? Whether you're tool-minded or not, maybe you work logistics or something, we have on-the-job training for our new employees. So if you're a field service engineer, right, 3 to 6 months, we'll train you, right, on the basics from semiconductor fab fundamentals all the way to working and troubleshooting on our machines. Okay. Now, depending on the individual, be shorter or longer training, right? Depending on how quickly you could pick up on the concepts and be able to work on your own. Okay.
Wonderful. Mike, anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, no, I want to say Western Digital is really similar to Tel and what Jason shared. Basically, what for, I guess, for a solid example, our wafer operators, that role is pretty much foundational. So most of the members that do join within that role are more newer to semiconductor and advanced manufacturing. So when they're first onboarded, they go through a whole series of trainings that revolve around how safety, how to operate and work some of the equipment within the fab, as well as, just day-to-day life standards that need to be embedded before they can even step foot in the fab. Yeah, a lot of trainings that do go on. Let's say, again, this is a foundational role. If you were to consider any other roles, or let's say you wanted to move forward, you would definitely need to have those foundational skills that they'll provide during that initial position before you can progress towards other roles.
Wonderful. Thank you. And since we kind of started with the conversation around those field technician roles, so with those field technician roles, are they covering a specific region? And if so, how big? And then is a company vehicle provided or other tools and items like that if they were to accept a field service technician type of position?
Yeah, so our field service engineering roles, they are regional, right? All across the country, right? But it's based on the customer. Okay, so for example, when I said we were in North Phoenix, right, supporting TSMC, that means our tools, our equipment is in the TSMC fab, and we work on our tools within their fab. Okay, all your tools are provided, right? Depending on your needs for the job, if you're a supervisor or if you are in a role that travels, right? We provide the funding for all your travel. Okay. So there's even positions where you'd be part of an install team where you would fly out from your home office, right? To go, let's say, somewhere in Texas, right, to help start a new fab that requires our tools. You'd be out there for maybe 3 to 6 months or so, coming back every 4 weeks to spend time with your family for a weekend, and then you go back out. It's like a deployment that you could come back home to periodically, right? And that is to support them with your team. Okay.
Great. It looks like we have another question in the chat here. It says, do your organizations prefer to promote from within before looking elsewhere, or would it be kind of a first come, first serve? So are you looking to promote from within or just overall looking for the best candidate for the position?
For Advantest, it's promote from within. We really look for people that have proven success or do well in one area, and we know that if they move to another area, maybe we're starting up another development effort, another product. We bring those people over. We know that they can transition those skills to this new product. Definitely within, and they have a track record and a sense of commitment that it's visible. So it's again, the answer is from within is the preferred process for us.
Absolutely. Tel does the same thing. We always look for within first before reaching out to a candidate outside the company. Okay.
Yep, similar. Western Digital is the same, promote from within. I think a big reason that I'm here as well is because our leadership and management has recognized a lot of our veteran and military talent that's already here, and a lot of them have progressed within, the wafer fab and semiconductor technology. Some of them have been here for, I want to say, 10, 15 plus years. So coming straight from the military. So definitely promote from within. We've seen it happen, and yeah, if nobody else can fill it, then maybe that's when we'll probably reach out externally.
Perfect. So we've got another question in the chat that asks, how would you say the work-life balance is within the organization?
Let's see, wow. So it's interesting. My particular position, I work with 3 different countries right now. So it's kind of an interesting day sometimes. So sometimes a particular geographical area, maybe Malaysia or something, that requires a lot of attention. So I'll shift my hours a little bit, and that's fine with all my management team. In fact, that's what they want me to do. They want me to engage with our partners, either as CM partners or customers, on their time frame. So I'm not expected to work, the regular US 8 hours when I'm doing that. So and then sometimes I'll have to work with some people, let's say in Germany in the morning. Well, I'll have a midday break. I'll go do something else. I don't know, go to the gym or something like that. So the hours are flexible. It's really the goals are what is important. So people we don't really watch the hours much. We look at what needs to be done and what it takes to do it, and that's appreciated. And once you have established some confidence among your team members and your management, they encourage you to do that. So they don't not watching you all the minute. They're looking at results. That's what happens here. Okay.
I would say the work-life balance for Tokyo Electron, if you're a field service engineer, it's excellent. Okay. Now we have several types of shift schedules. Okay. So regular 9 to 5, we're working 5 days a week, or you could be 3 on, 4 off, 4 on, 3 off, right? Working 12-hour shifts each day. Okay. And getting overtime when you're over 40 every week, right? So it's not like the military where you're working 24 hours a day and you're not getting paid accordingly, right? You will get paid for your time. Okay. So if you choose to take the overtime hours on other days, I mean, like Wayne said, it is based on the work. Some days will be harder or longer than others. And that's just how it is, but you'll be paid accordingly. Okay. But that 3-4 shift is what a lot of field service engineers want, right? Because that's an amazing shift. I mean, if I was in the military and they told me I could work that would be the greatest thing ever, right? And we also have night shift, right, which pays 15% above what you normally get if you're working nights. Okay.
Yeah, similar at Western Digital. Depending on the position, I mean, if you're working in HR, like how my role is right now, it's kind of more hybrid 9 to 5, where you can either work in office or you can work from home. But that's pretty standard. But again, depending on the department, like if you were to talk about, any of the positions within wafer manufacturing, that would be similar to Tel, where we have the alternating work schedule as well. So it's 3 on, 3 off, or 4 on, 3 off, 12-hour shifts. But ultimately, a lot of people do enjoy the schedule just because it's pretty consistent and it allows for more days off compared to your standard 9 to 5 days a week.
Perfect. Thank you. So I want to take a step back just for a minute, because I know we went through quick presenters and then we've had some good questions around kind of hiring and work-life balance. But I want to step back to the semiconductor microchip manufacturing as a whole, because some folks on this call may not even know what a chip is and how it's made. So can you guys just take maybe, I know it's hard to do probably in 30 or 45 seconds, but just maybe even just kind of describe the process a little bit so they better understand what that is. Wayne, I think you're muted. I think you were trying to.
Well, I'm just laughing. I think Jason showed a really good slide there, which shows the whole concept, and various companies like my company, and then also Mike's company fits in one of those pieces in that chain. It's amazing chain. It starts off, I guess, with somebody who has some kind of a function or something, a design that they need to achieve some functionality. So that somebody will come up with an idea, design the chip, and then they'll find a wafer fab. Before he even gets to the wafer fab, there'll be somebody that needs to lay this, what we call layout. That means translate the design to a physical set of layers that make up a chip. And then it'll go to a chip vendor. That could be, some companies own their own places, but most of them are foundries. And then the foundry will make a chip, and then make a large wafer, and then it'll go next to a test place for test house. Sometimes it's in-house, sometimes for companies that just do just test. After testing, it goes to packaging, and then it'll go to some vendor who's trying to produce a product. It could be a television, as you mentioned. It could be a car, could be a phone, but see that. So some equipment manufacturer will put that into a piece of equipment, and then we'll end up in a television. What was kind of interesting for a while, we talked about the chip shortage. But kind of a dilemma for us is we are a consumer of ICs ourselves, because that's how we build our systems, our test systems. And what was interesting, we had a couple of customers that were saying that they want more of our test systems. And we said, well, sorry, our lead times are huge because you're not giving us the ICs that we need to produce the systems that you need to test. It's kind of an interesting dilemma. But anyway, we worked through it. Things are getting back to normal. So anyway, that's kind of my high level description of what goes on. But I think Jason's slide, really captured that quite well.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So someone asked in the chat, and I know we're coming up on our time, so I want to be mindful of that. But we've talked a lot about like field service, engineers and technicians. We've kind of talked about the manufacturing side. What are some of the logistics positions that you have interviewed potential candidates for? What can folks in those types of interests in those types of careers look for in the industry?
That's not my area, so I'm sorry, I can't.
That's okay.
Kind of a semi guy myself, so I'm pretty focused on the IC technology itself.
So I know at TEL we do need logistics personnel, right? However, I have not personally recruited anyone for that role. I think we have a dedicated recruiter who looks for those to fill those roles. I do focus mainly on veterans and military. However, I haven't come across a military member that was looking for a logistics role yet. So if you send me your resume, I'll see if I can help you out in that department.
Same boat at Western Digital for me. I haven't got a chance to look into any roles or programs that revolve around logistics, but that's what we're here for. I mean, if you'd like to forward your information, hopefully I can assist you in connecting with the right recruiter. And if there are any positions available, hopefully we can assist and get you connected to someone.
And I also like to add, feel free to reach out to me if you just want to send me a resume. I can help you out with your resume. Okay, make sure it's good for turning into a hiring manager. I've seen all kinds of resumes. Okay, and I will be able to help you write the perfect one for the position that you are applying for. Okay, and then send it to the appropriate recruiter if I'm not the one that could help you out. Okay, and I also like to help with interview prep. Okay, so don't be scared to send out your resume. I will judge it and tell you what you need to fix if you don't think it's up to par. Okay.
I think that's a perfect way to kind of bring everything to a close and start to wrap up things, because I think
May I
that's the
add
whole
one?
purpose of these events is to, what's that?
So can I add one little thing?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of questions just around kind of what a wafer looks like, what a semiconductor really looks like, how it interacts with computers. I dropped a little video in there.
We have a current opening at Chandler, by the way, for a logistics scheduler. So might take a look. Somebody might take a look at that.
Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah.
so much information on the site, and I do receive your resumes, you know, when they're released from Heroes team, and share them with all of the companies and stuff that we're working with. So please reach out, you know, if there's something of interest, if you want to have further conversations. That's why we're here. All of us want to help and support your careers, and hopefully it lands in this industry and with us. But if it doesn't, best of luck to you all, and wherever you take your careers from here.
Yeah, thanks, Melinda. I think that's where I was headed. That's the entire purpose of these events is that opportunity to network, and build those connections, to have those resources, those individuals that you can reach out to who are willing to support you, whether it's within their organizations or providing, like Jason was talking about, some of those career resources, resume reviews, interview preparation. So as we start to wrap up, we're going to launch a poll here, but I did want to take a moment to just really thank our speakers for being on here with us today. We really appreciate you taking time to speak with the individuals who've joined us today, and for recognizing the value of the military community. And thank you to all of our participants who've joined us today. Hopefully you learned something, expanded that knowledge, and are really going to take some time to explore the semiconductor industry. And with that, I'm going to flip to one more slide. Explore those career websites that we've dropped in the chat there. So make sure to save those, to connect with your program manager. If you're a Heroes participant and you didn't capture that information, we can get that over to you. Follow Heroes Make America on our LinkedIn channel, connect with our teams. And then, of course, we'd love to have you join us for our next event. We will host Howmet Aerospace for a Heroes Connect event on Wednesday, April 10th. So thank you all again. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody. You guys have a good one.